All right. Okay, so we're starting brand new Unit 2 today, okay? Unit 1 was all about solving equations. We're not going to do any solving in here unless you have it on like a review question on your homework, okay? But we're not going to do any solving. This unit is going to be about graphs, okay? Looking at graphs and identifying things from them. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, and I apologize, but I'm going to move very fast today, okay? Because a lot of it is drawing and writing. Okay, a lot of it's drawing and writing, so it's not necessarily the math that's going to take a long time. It's drawing graphs and stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to have to move on. Don't wait for me to finish drawing something before you start. Okay, you guys need to be writing at the same time that I'm writing so you don't get behind. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we are going to count 10 boxes down and draw a line across. All right, so what does that mean? So here's the original line where your title it goes. I'm going to count 10 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to draw a line across. Okay, our spacing has to be perfect. Okay, our spacing has to be perfect or you're going to run out of space. Okay, we don't want to run out of space. So 10 lines down, 10 boxes down, and then draw your line across. Okay, next, we are going to review a graph. Okay, we're going to talk about the parts of a graph and review it and make sure that you're up to date on that. All right. So we're going to draw a graph. You're going to draw it 8 boxes down. Okay, all of our graphs are going to be like this today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're going to start one box in and end one box in. Okay, 8 boxes down and then 8 boxes across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I counted that right. Okay, and then we're going to finish drawing our square. Okay, and we are going to be reviewing a graph right here, the parts of a graph. Okay, there should be a line dead center going down and a line dead center going across if you counted your boxes correctly. Okay, that's going to be my X and Y axis. All right, so here we go. Let's review the parts of a graph. I'm going to draw a line to this line right here. Draw an arrow. I'm going to zoom in so you can see this. What is this line called?
X.
X-axis. Good. Okay, X-axis. I'm going to draw a line here. What is this line going up and down called? Y-axis. Very good. Okay, so X-axis and Y-axis. And then the dead center, I'm going to put a dot there. Okay, dot on the dead center. And what is that? The center is called the origin. Y'all remember that? What point is the origin? What ordered pair?
0,
0, 0. Good. 0, 0. Perfect. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we are going to label the quadrants, okay? Label the quadrants. All right, so anytime you're labeling the quadrants, we're going to do it as if we were drawing the letter C. Okay, so this is going to be quadrant 1. I want you to write it kind of at the top because we're going to write something underneath it. And quadrants have to be written as ordered pairs, or not ordered pairs, as Roman numerals. So that's quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and last is quadrant 4, which is IV. IV is quadrant 4. Yeah?
I don't know.
We gotta get you a pencil that works daily. Daily. Okay. Underneath the quadrants, we're gonna write the signs that if I had an ordered pair, what the signs would be in that quadrant, okay? So in quadrant 1, if I had an ordered pair, I would have a positive X and a positive Y. In quadrant 2, I would have a negative X and a positive Y. Quadrant 3, I would have a negative X and a negative Y. Quadrant 4, I would have a positive X and a negative Y. Next, I want you to highlight the word y-axis, x-axis, and then the quadrant signs. I want those to pop on your paper. As so. Okay. Okay, now, that's all we're going to talk about on that graph. That's all we're going to review on the graph. So I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to draw a line right here, going straight down. And then on the other side of that line, we're going to define some definitions, okay? We're starting a brand new unit, so you guys are going to be learning a lot of new words, okay, especially at the beginning. Okay, our first definition we're going to talk about is the word function. Y'all remember what function means? It's a word you should have heard before. Function, okay, today's pretty much a review day, okay? Function, that's okay if you don't remember it, that's why we're talking about it today. Function is when your x's do not, remember this? X's do not repeat. Okay, so function is when your x's do not repeat. Do not repeat. And I'm going to highlight the word function because that is a vocab word. Okay, my next vocabulary word is the word domain. Have y'all heard domain before? You should have. Domain is going to be all of your x values. Whatever is an x number in an ordered pair on the graph, whatever, that's going to be a domain if it's an x number. If I'm going to talk about domain, I got to talk about range. Range, if domain is x values, range is going to be your y values. And tomorrow, I'll show you a little trick to help you remember which one is x, which domain is x, and which is y. Okay, I'll show you a trick to remember that. Okay, that's all we're going to learn new, okay? Those are the only new words that we're going to talk about today. We good? Questions? Am I leaving anybody behind? Okay, here we go. Example 1. Example 1 is going to say, given a table, so I'm going to give you a table, okay, that's what you're going to be given on this problem. Given a table, draw a graph, Given a table, draw a graph and the new thing we're going to learn today, because we have to learn something new, mapping. A graph and mapping, and I'll explain what mapping is later. Okay? So, I'm going to give you a table, and you guys are going to make a graph out of that, and then a mapping. Okay, and I'll show you what that is in a minute. Okay, so the table that you're given for this problem, I'm going to draw a little T-chart, X, Y, T-chart. Hello, this is Miss Jarrett. Yes, I will. You're welcome. Bye. You're done. Okay, make sure you watch this YouTube video later, okay?
All right.
It'll be in Schoology. Okay, so my x's that I'm going to give you are -4, -3, -3, and 2. Okay, those are my x values, and if you have an x value, you're going to have a y value, and your y values are going to be -2, 0, 3, -2. Okay, so this problem gives you a table, and now it wants you to graph these points, okay? So now we got to make a graph. So I'm going to draw the exact same graph that I did a while ago. 8 boxes down. 8 boxes down, 8 boxes across. And then I'm going to finish making my square. Find the lines dead center and make those your X and Y axes. And make sure anytime you draw a graph, you have to label your X and Y axis. You got to label that. Okay? Label your X and Y axis. Okay, so now let's plot these points from the table. Okay, my first X is -4. Okay, so anytime we plot a point, we start dead center. My first X is -4, so my X-axis moves side to side, and I'm going to move in a negative direction, so that's backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my Y moves up and down, and my Y right now is a -2, so I'm going to go down 2 and put my first point. My next ordered pair, my next point that I'm going to plot is -3, 0. So anytime we're plotting a point, we start in the middle. My X is -3, so I'm going to move backwards, 1, 2, 3. My Y is 0, so I'm not going to move up or down. It's going to stay put right there. The next ordered pair I'm going to draw is -3, 3. Start in the center. X is -3, so I'm going to go backwards 3. Y is +3, so I'm going to go up 3 and put my dot. The last ordered pair is 2, -2, so I'm going to start in the center. Now X is a positive number, so I'm going to move forward 2. Y is -2, so I'm going to go down 2. And there's my graph. We good? Okay, the next thing it tells us to do, it says draw a graph and mapping. So mapping is new, okay? A mapping is just another way to write ordered pairs, okay? And how that's going to look is going to be 2 ovals next to each other but not touching, okay? So you can write an ordered pair as like parentheses, how you normally see an ordered pair, okay? You can see an ordered pair in a table. You can see an ordered pair on a graph. And you can see an ordered pair in mapping, okay? So mapping is a new way to write an ordered pair. So the first oval is going to be my X values. And my second oval is going to be my Y values. Now the important thing about a mapping, your X's and your Y's have to be written least to greatest. Least to greatest, and you cannot repeat numbers. Okay, so least to greatest, and you cannot repeat numbers. So if I go look at my table, and I'm going to do my X's first, what's my smallest X? -4. So that's going to be the first thing I write in my mapping. And then the next number is -3. Well, I've got 2 -3s on there, and I can't repeat them, so I'm only going to write it one time. And then the next smallest number is +2. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with my Y's. My smallest Y is a -2, and I'm not going to write it twice. I know it's on there twice, but we're not going to write it twice, just one time. And then 0, and then 3. Now, looking at the mapping how it is right now, right now you don't know which X goes with which Y, okay? So from here, we're going to draw arrows to show which ordered pair, which X goes to which Y in the ordered pair. So the first ordered pair is -4, -2. So I'm going to take -4 and draw an arrow from -4 to -2. My next number in the table is -3 and 0. So -3 is going to go to 0. And then the next number in the ordered pair is -3 and +3. So I'm also going to draw an arrow from -3 to +3. And then the last ordered pair is 2, -2. So an arrow from 2 to -2. Okay, questions? We good? Okay, good. All right, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about our keywords that we wrote at the top. Okay, function, domain, and range. All right, so we're going to list our domains. Domain, our range values, and then function question mark. Okay, so domain and range, when you list your x's and your y's out, it's very similar to the mapping. You have to write them least to greatest and without repeating, okay? So when I list my numbers out, because it's a list, we got to have the bracket on there. I'm not very good at drawing them. The bracket, not a parentheses, but a bracket, okay? And I'm going to write my x's least to greatest and without repeating. So basically, it's the same thing that's in the mapping. -4, -3, and 2. Awesome. Okay, now I'm going to do the range numbers. Same thing, least to greatest without repeating. So -2, 0, 3. And then it says function, question mark. So function, if you look at the top, says x's do not repeat. Okay, so if I look at my table, do I have any x's that are repeating? Yes, -3 is repeating. So is this a function? No. No, it's not a function. I've got x's that are repeating. Okay, we good? Questions on that? Okay, draw a line under it. And then we're going to do one more example like that. Okay, example 1, I gave you a table to start with. Example 2, okay, I'm going to give you a coordinates. Okay, so here we go. Example 2. Given coordinates. Coordinates are just ordered pairs. Okay, so given coordinates, draw a table, graph. So given coordinates, draw a table, graph, mapping. Given coordinates, draw a table, graph, and mapping. Given coordinates, draw a table, graph, and mapping. Okay, so my coordinates are going to be -4 and 2. I'm only going to have 3 of them. 0, -3, and 3, -3. Okay, so here's what the problem's giving me. It's giving me ordered pairs now, okay, coordinates. And it wants me to make a table out of this. Okay, well, for me to make a table out of this, I got to know which numbers x and y in the coordinates. Okay, so just like always, x always comes first and then y. Okay, so just like the alphabet, x comes first, then y always. And it's the same thing when making a table. Anytime you make a table, you always make the x column first. Okay, so my table is going to be x and y column. I'm running out of room here. There we go. Okay, so x and y column. So my first ordered pair is -4, 2. Then I have 0, -3, and then 3, -3. After I make a table, it wants me to draw a graph. So 8 boxes down, 8 boxes across. And finish making your square. Find the line dead center, up and down, and side to side. Label your x and your y axis. Okay, my first point I'm going to plot is -4, okay, and 2. So I start in the middle. X is -4, so I'm going to go backwards 4 on the x, and y is +2, so I'm going to go up 2. My next order pair I'm going to plot is 0, -3. So x is 0. I'm not going to move left or right on the x-axis because 0 means I'm going to move 0 spots. But I am going to go down 3 for the y. And then +3, -3. So forward 3 on the x, -3 y, so down 3. After you do your graph, it wants you to make a mapping. So 2 ovals side by side without touching. First one's always going to be x, second one's always going to be y. Remember, for a mapping, you cannot repeat numbers and they have to be written least to greatest, okay? So my smallest x number is -4, then 0, then 3. -4, 0, 3. Okay, my smallest y number is, -3. And there's 2 of them, but I'm only going to write it one time. And then my other y number is 2. Then we got to draw arrows. So -4 goes with 2. 0 goes with -3. And 3 goes with -3. And I'm done with my mapping. Least to greatest without repeating numbers. Mapping. Okay, next. We're going to list our domain values, our range values, and is it a function? Okay, so domain, same thing like mapping. Least to greatest without repeating numbers, and we got to have a bracket because we're listing numbers. So my smallest number is -4, 0, 3. -4, 0, and 3. And then range, list all the y numbers, smallest to largest, without repeating -3, 2. And then it says, is this a function? Okay. Well, if I look at all my x's, you can either look at your ordered pairs or look at your table. Either way. -4, 0, and 3 are all different x's. So is this a function? Yes. Yes, it is a function. All my x's are different. Okay, one more thing and then I promise we're done. The last thing we're going to talk about is the vertical line test. You guys remember doing that last year? Okay, a vertical line test. We're gonna have to go to the next page. Okay, page 27. You won't have to show much work on your notes or on your practice today. It's gonna be online. So vertical line test. Vertical line test. Okay, now this does not have to be perfect. Okay, we're gonna draw 3 T's like this for graphs. Okay, 3 of them. Right next to each other. Does not have to be perfect. Okay. And then under each T, each graph, I want you to write function ? Function, under all of them. And there's 3 of them. Okay, vertical line test. So to determine if something is a function, you can look at their ordered pairs and see are any of the x's in the ordered pairs the same. You can look at the table and see are any x's in the table the same. You can look at a mapping and see if one x has multiple arrows coming off of it. Okay, to determine if it's a function. And then for a graph, to determine if it's a function or not, we use the vertical line test. Okay, so the very first graph, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It needs to look like this on your paper though. The first graph I want you to draw is going to be a C, like this, kind of. Something like that. Okay, something like this. And I'm going to use my pencil, or whatever, to determine if this is a function or not by doing the vertical line test. So here's my pencil, okay? And if I slide my pencil all over the graph, and I look right here, how many times does the red line hit my pencil? Twice. It hits it at the top and here at the bottom. Okay, so that would technically tell me that this is not a function, okay? Because it hits it here and here. Okay, well, why is that not a function? If I plot this point, this is 1, 1, and this is 1, negative 2. Well, both of those ordered pairs have a 1 in the x spot, so my x's are repeating. Is this a function? No. Because my x's are repeating. Okay, so if the line hits your pencil twice, it's not a function. Okay, so let's do another one. This one, I want it to look like a V. So if I do the vertical line test and I take my pencil and I slide it, okay, right here, it's only hitting the pencil once. Here, the red line's hitting the pencil once, hitting the pencil once, hitting the pencil once, hitting the pencil once. It's never going to hit the pencil twice, okay? So that means that if I was to plot all of these points, every x would be different. So yes, this one is a function. Every x would be different. The third one. Okay, the third one. I want you to make sure it looks just like this. Go straight down in the line, over, and angle it. Okay, so weird graph like this. Here's my pencil, okay? Touches the pencil line once here, once, and then I get to the straight line. Now the line and my pencil are overlapping. Is this a function? No, okay? If I plot this point, this would be negative 2, 3. This point would be negative 2, 2. This point would be negative 2, 1. All of those points, okay, in the straight line all have negative 2 as the x value, so no, this would not be a function. No. Function? No. Okay? Questions on that? We good? I'm sorry I have to go fast to that. I don't like doing that, okay, but with today's notes, there's a bunch I had to cram in and whatnot. Okay. Go to Schoology.